Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to our series, Real Talk About the Bible, where we are talking about the Bible in a real, honest, and raw way, where we address our concerns and our difficulties and the hardships of reading this book that we as Christians believe is unlike any other book, yet can be a book that is unlike any other book and can bring us a lot of struggle. And maybe you've had pain from the Bible, and maybe you've just struggled to get in the habit of reading it, or you don't understand it, or you're new to it. This series, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you are new to it, go back and watch the other videos. But I am sad to say that with this video, we have come to the end of this series. I have loved doing this series. I'm passionate about the Bible, and I'm passionate about talking about it in a real and honest way, because I think too often we talk about the Bible as though it's something that's untouchable, that something that we have to put on a pedestal, and we can't talk about the difficulties of it, and we can't be real about it. And so I've enjoyed doing this series, and maybe we'll come back to it one day later, but for now this is the end of the series. But I am really excited at the same time, because this is the video that this whole series has been building up to. This is the video I'm most excited about, and this video, as you probably know if you read the title, is about why you shouldn't give up on the Bible. And maybe if you just read the titles of the other videos, you'd wonder, I wonder how this has to do with the other videos, because the other videos are real talk about the Bible, and it's talking about how the Bible is hard. Reading the Bible is difficult. That was the first video we did, and we've talked about all the translations of the Bible, and that can be confusing. How do I know which one to pick? How do I know if the one I have is the right one? And we've talked about the weird stories in the Bible, how there's stories that are troubling and concerning and just outright alarming at times, and what are we supposed to do with those? And we've talked about how the Bible, well, it isn't magical, despite maybe what we've been told, or maybe what we want the Bible to be. The Bible isn't magical. It's not a magic 8-ball. We can't just flip it open and boom, God will tell us the answer to whatever problem is on our mind. It's not a book that just by reading it will magically become better people, but it's a book that requires thinking, and it's difficult. We have to read the Bible on its terms, not the terms that we would like to read it on. And the Bible is what it is, not maybe what we desire it to be, or maybe not what we've been told that it is. But despite all those challenges, despite all those difficulties, I haven't brought those up to tear the Bible down. I've actually brought those up to show us what the Bible really is. And all throughout the series, I've been challenging you to think of the Bible as an overarching story that tells the redemptive narrative of God redeeming his people. In the beginning, we see that God creates this good world, and he puts people in it. He tells them to rule over it, to rule the world justly, and to go and prosper in the world. And then we tear it all down. We tear our relationships apart with each other. We begin to destroy this good world that he's created for us, and we separate ourselves from God. And time again, we look through this story, and we're looking for someone to repair all of this. But that person, it never comes until we see the person of Jesus, who redeems his people, who lives a sinless life, the life we were all designed to live. And then he saves us and redeems us. And then we reach the climax of the story, but then the story doesn't end there. It propels us forward into where we are today, and where we have been for the past 2,000 years as people living under the redemption of God, people who can look at this overarching redemptive narrative and see what God has done, and then go spread that message of hope and love to the world, and let them know that there is a Savior. And so that is the beauty of the Bible. That is the overarching narrative from beginning to end. It starts with the good world, and then our destruction of it, and then points us towards the future in which we are living in a redeemed world as redeemed people. And so maybe that challenges what your original perception of the Bible is, but that's what I've been hoping that you would adopt as your view of the Bible. And all throughout this series, we look at, yes, the Bible's hard, yes, it's weird at times, yes, it's difficult, but it's beautiful. And despite the calls of many people who would look at those same things and say the Bible's hard, the Bible's difficult, it was written so long ago, it's hard to understand, it's not relevant for us. I want to say, yes, the Bible is all those things, but it is still relevant for us, because we still fit into this story. You see, while these stories may have been written a long time ago, while they may have taken place in different cultures, while they may be difficult to understand at times, well, the people in them, they're not that different than us. They're people living in doing their best and falling short and not being able to live up to the life that they were created for and in need of redemption. And then Jesus coming and offering that redemption. And that story, it still plays out today. We're still people living in a world that has been destroyed by sin, that has been marred by chaos and violence. And we're much like many of the characters and all throughout this story. You see, we've looked at the Bible and realized there's not many heroes. That many of the people, well, they're just like us. They fall short. But we can enter into this redemptive story because we are part of it. We are God's creation, and He is inviting us to live new lives, to be new creation, to accept His offer of grace and salvation. And well, for that, the Bible, it will never go out of relevance. The Bible will always be relevant because we will always be people in need of that redemption. That redemptive narrative, it continues and will continue. And that's why the Bible still matters. The Bible matters because it's the way that God has chosen to communicate with us. You see, we may not love parts of the Bible. It may be hard for us. Maybe you don't understand it. Maybe you wish God would have done it differently. But the fact is, God, in all of His wisdom, He chose to communicate to us through this book. And we have to accept that. We have to recognize that this book, the Bible, is God's chosen means of communicating with His world. And when we look at it, it makes sense. The Bible, it gives people from all over the world, it gives us access to one anchor for our faith. It gives us access to one central point. It gives us access to something to put our foundation on. It allows us to center our faith around a common thing rather than just subjective experience. And even though it can be hard, God in all His wisdom chose to give us this book. And if we want to learn about God, this is the terms He's given us. And I'm not saying you can't experience God in different ways, and I'm not saying there isn't ways to learn about God outside of this book, but I am saying this is God's primary means of communicating. And as such, if we are going to be people of faith, we have to take this book seriously. We have to learn to love this book as it is, not as we want it to be. And I think that's so important. And so does the Bible still matter? Is it still relevant? Of course. It's still relevant because we're still part of the story. And it still matters because God's truth still matters. The truth about God and what He has done and is doing and will do still matters and will always matter. No matter our struggles with it, no matter the difficulties we may have reading it, it's going to grow us. And I still believe that despite the difficulties and all the things we've looked at, that the Bible is what it says it is, that's sharper than any double-edged sword, that is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness, that the Bible is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path, that the Bible matters. And more than anything, I hope that you develop a love for the Bible and learn to read it on its terms, because when you do, you realize that it's even better than any of the false conceptions we could have had of the Bible. It's better than the magic 8-ball you want it to be. It's better than anything else that it could be, because this is how God chose to do it. And when we look through these pages and we see it as an overarching redemptive narrative, we see the wonder of God and His love for each and every one of His children and His desire for them to come home, to live redeemed lives, and begin the redemption of the world. It's an incredible book, and I hope you don't give up on it. It will always be too soon to give up on the Bible. And I get it if you've been hurt by the Bible, and I get it if people have used the Bible as a weapon against you, how everything in you could desire to push away from it, and I get that. But please, don't give up on it yet. It will always be too soon to give up on the Bible. Because while the Bible isn't God, while the Bible isn't our salvation, the Bible does point us to God. It's a story that leads to Jesus, and Jesus is the hope of the world. And I do think it's important to realize that the Bible isn't the hope of the world. The Bible isn't the center point of our faith. The Bible isn't what saves us, but it does point us to the one who does. The Bible leads us to Jesus, who is the rock of our salvation. The Bible, it unites us and it points us towards the one who ultimately can save us. And so please, don't give up on it yet. Read it. It will challenge you and you will struggle, but it is a book that we can chew on for a lifetime, that will challenge us to grow, to rethink our perspectives, to reshape our view of the world until we see the world as God sees it. And so, while this series may be ending, I hope that you continue on your journey of having real conversations about the Bible, real talk about the Bible. And on this channel, we're going to keep talking about the Bible, and we're going to keep looking to the Bible for what it has to communicate to us today. And I hope you stick around for the journey, because I'm loving doing this. But I am sad to say that this is the end of the series for now. So if you have stuck around throughout it, if you stuck around this far in the video, thank you so much. It means so much to me. I hope you're getting something out of this. And as we draw it to a close, I just can't say thank you enough. You guys are the best. I'm so appreciative of anyone who gives me their time and the time of day to just communicate and talk with you about something that I'm so passionate about. So you guys are the heroes. I love you guys so much. If you enjoyed this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, be sure to do that. Leave me a comment, letting me know what you thought. But until next time, guys, I will see you later. Go out, read this book, love this book, struggle with this book, but ultimately, don't give up on it. Love you guys. Peace. See you next time.